All right, so we are here today with New Balance's Danny Orr. Danny, you're PLM. Like, how do you describe your position?
Someone who's worked in shoes for too long. I'm the general manager of performance running, so I manage the PLM team. I still do an odd shoe here and there when the workload's too high for the team, but in general, I'm overseeing all of the performance running kind of creation from a platform.
So the big picture, you're saying this is where New Balance is going. You guys create shoes to fill these niches.
Yeah, and I think our main role is to work with our innovation teams, make sure that we're integrating all of the new technologies that are coming down the pipe into our current range and then into where we believe the future of performance running should be.
So right now you basically have two different technology foams that you're using. You have the fresh foam and the fuel cell, right?
Well, within each of those, there's multiple foams, right? Because we're trying to create slightly different solutions for different runners, even within those platforms. But to your point, we have two main categories. The first one being fresh foam, which is really focused on cushioning and providing, the most amount of cushioning that we can for a runner. And then fuel cell, which is much more about energy return, performance, stiffness, improving running economy.
Awesome. Let's take a look at some of the Spring 22 shoes that you have coming out from New Balance.
Yeah, so I'll focus on some of the fuel cell product today, and because I know that's certainly some of the stuff that gets you guys excited.
Us all excited
as well.
Yeah, it's got the bounce.
I should have taken a different color of this.
I love that color.
But this is going to be one of our key stories for the front half of 2022.
Why do you need a different color?
This is the Fuelcell Supercomp Trainer, because
Supercomp
the
Trainer.
white ones are cool, man.
I like these too. Supercomp Trainer. It's pretty much coming in and replacing what we would call the TC before.
Yeah, that's right.
Training and competition.
Correct.
All right.
And we have a kind of a new naming convention going on, that anything on the road as well as on the track that has carbon fiber in the midsole is going to fall under the Supercomp family, just to make it a little bit easier for consumers. And you get a lot of that, right? Has the Rebel got a plate, etc. Now, if the Rebel was called the Supercomp Rebel, everyone would know that it had a carbon plate.
Yeah, some other brands do similar naming convention.
Similar, and we just want to limit confusion as much as possible.
Let me ask you a question about this. With it being the training shoe and not the racing shoe, is it race legal?
This shoe right now would not be race legal as it is considered by World Athletics. So that was part of our thinking in relation to bringing the shoe to market. We believe that there's a consumer set out there that can really benefit from the maximum energy storage and return that you can get if you play a little bit outside of what the rules are. We haven't changed too much in it, and really what we've gone after is the height, and it really is about maximizing that performance as well as helping people recover better in longer training environments.
All right, so benefits that consumers going to get from this shoe is faster recovery.
Correct.
Softer ride, more bounce.
Correct.
And if I want to use it for race day, since
maximum-
I'm not an Olympic athlete, this might be a shoe that would work for me.
Nobody cares about whether you and I break the rules.
No, they do not.
Nobody cares about whether most people break the rules
Yeah.
in many ways, right? And I think certainly from our perspective, I'm
not getting competitive advantage in the shoe to, say, Kipchoge.
I mean, you would be, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But he's still going to beat you.
Yeah.
So I don't know what we're going to do about that.
Right.
I don't think there's a shoe in the world that's going to help you beat Kipchoge.
Yeah. Well, roller skates maybe.
maybe, or a motor.
Yeah, a motor
Of some kind, yeah.
All right.
The
cool.
other thing that this shoe's debuting for us is our own proprietary technology in the midsole called Energy Arc. And the way that the Energy Arc system works is that it's a cambered carbon fiber plate and then this void that sits underneath the midsole.
That void is the characteristic that you notice as soon as you pick it up, kind of that split. What's the advantage of having it? Is it a weight reduction? Is it a shock absorption? What's it do?
Weight's going to play into it, but what it's really aiding is the ability for the shoe to store energy and return energy.
Okay.
So the way that the plate works is that it's part of that system. The void then obviously allows the midsole to compress further than it normally would. You kind of create a situation where the midsole kind of goes out as it kind of is loaded, and then obviously that system is then returning more energy. And
is
for
it
us,
also stability?
there's not too much of a stability component to it. It really is thinking about what the overall performance benefits of the shoe could be and how the technology can aid that. You talked about the TC earlier. The trainer has the ability to store and return 40% more energy than the Fuelcell TC. So we know that we're getting a significant performance improvement based on the Energy Arc technology.
Awesome. Looks like pretty much a booty upper, pretty breathable. Is there anything in the story about the upper, or is that pretty much it?
Yeah, and again, for us, it's just about finding the right balance between as light and as breathable as we can make it, but then making sure that it's got key features in it that will allow somebody to go on a long training run or race a marathon in it. So it really is about finding that balance between the best breathable, lightest, most performance upper we can make while still having enough function for somebody to be able to use it.
Who's the consumer for this shoe?
Yeah, I think the consumer's maybe a lot broader than people might give it credit for, because I do think today we're going to see people almost across the gambit kind of wearing a product like this, potentially based a lot on just how accessible it is and based on what a nice price point it's going to be at. So I think we're going to see people certainly doing tempos and that type of running that the shoe was created for, but I think ultimately we're going to see a broad consumer set of people that just want the benefits of maximum performance or maximum energy storage and return, and then that recovery benefit for long run.
So what is the price point on this?
$180.
180, okay. And then additionally on here, I'm noticing that it kind of has a rocker geometry, plenty of cushioning. As Danny said, you're gonna get a splaying of the back where this V is. It gives you an energy return, 40% more than the TC, 40% more than the TC. So if you love the TC, I think it's gonna be quite an update.
This shoe's wild. You're gonna absolutely love it.
It looks wild.
It's different to anything that's out there, and I think that's what makes it so much fun.
And how soon will people be able to get this on their feet?
It's a very good question. The global launch is April. We'll see.
That's if deliveries are coming. We have those issues all over the board.
We'll see.
Hopefully we'll be wearing this in the spring, getting ready for those summer miles, and if you have a little extra cushion, a little pop in the step, it'll help with those hot runs. Awesome, let's check out what else we got.
We've got two other shoes that also have energy arc technology in the midsole within the Supercomp family. The first one's going to be a lot of fun. That's the Supercomp Pacer.
Okay.
We've always been very successful with shoes like 1400 and 1500, which in many ways have gone away largely due to the super shoe era.
Popular,
there is a consumer though out there that wants the benefits of those shoes, but in a more traditional kind of package from a height standpoint. So in this instance, we took everything that we knew and loved about the 1400, updated it with a high energy return foam, and we put a carbon fiber plate in the midsole. So in many ways, what we're talking about is a 1400 with all the performance benefits of a super shoe today, which is super exciting.
This is going to be for the super efficient runner that likes fast turnover, lightweight shoe, almost no shoe there, it's going to feel like, right?
Correct.
All right.
And I think, that person who's running 5Ks, 10Ks, half marathons, and doesn't necessarily want to be in that big stack height, kind of, more
nimble,
more nimble, right? That person who doesn't want to be in that thick stack height marathon racing shoe can get into that, and I think they're really going to enjoy it. $150.
$150. These are for the fast people. And the foam feels a little bit different. Is it the same foam?
It's the same foam that's in the trainer.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, now of course, we love, these are our basically the shoes we get the most excited about.
I know.
Let's take a look at this.
I know.
Let's go over the basics for the shoe. Obviously, this is the race day shoe. We've seen the RC, we've seen the RC Elite, or the RC Elite, the RC Elite 2, which we like quite a bit. And this is the evolution of that. It looks a little slimmer, it looks a little sleeker.
Yeah, I don't know if it's so much slimmer and sleeker. Maybe that's more the design visual. We've taken a little bit of weight out of it, but most of that's come from the upper, a little bit from that energy arc, removing some of that material out of the midsole. I think the key thing about this shoe is that it's just so much more dynamic. And again, we talked about the ability for energy arc to provide additional energy storage and energy return. We're going to see the same thing here over the V2. So we have a significant improvement in terms of energy storage and energy return in the Supercomp Elite V3. And the shoe's just beautiful, dude. I don't know if I can give it to you. The shoe's beautiful. We're super excited.
Yeah, the upper looks thin and light. I mean, one of the things I liked about the RC Elite 2 is it had a better collar than just about any racing shoe out there as far as comfort and fit around the ankle. You're going to see that the fit of this upper looks booty-like. I'm going to guess you're going to get a nice ride out of this. You got that split down the center he's talking about here with the energy arc. I mean, this looks like fun. It feels light. Is it You said it lost weight?
Lost a little bit of weight.
All right. And we're seeing more energy return from this one as well? What's the percentage that we have?
I'll tell you later.
We'll tell us later? All right. This is
I'll tell you
cool.
later. But I think, your comment there about heel fit is so important in this product, right? Because in a carbon fiber shoe, essentially the carbon fiber plate is trying to pull the shoe off your foot, right? So when it leaves the ground, by returning to its original position, it's this area here that's under the most stress, and that's why heel fit is just so important. And I appreciate the fact that you think that V2 has the best heel fit, because we would agree with you. But it's an area that we are always laser focused on, just knowing that in many ways the performance technologies in a shoe are working against good heel fit. So it really is an area that you need to just overemphasize.
And you and I have talked about it. One of the things, like you said, the plate's always trying to pull away from your foot. The whole point of having a carbon plate is to boost the energy return, to boost all that stuff. You're losing that if the shoe isn't fitting correctly, right?
Don't want to lose that. For maximum running economy improvement, we need to make sure that the whole package works.
When will we see athletes, like your New Balance athletes, racing and competing in this shoe?
By July.
By July. All right. How much?
$225.
$225.
In many ways, I save best till last. As you know, this should have been the Believe in the Run daily training shoe of the year.
I've heard
this.
I've heard
should have been the Believe in the Run daily training shoe of the year. So I'm very happy to introduce you to the RC Elite V3, which is the 2020, what year are we? 2022 daily training shoe of the year from Believe in the Run.
You heard it here first. So I'm not seeing a ton of update on the midsole and outsole, right?
If there was one line in this brief, it said, we want to get 10 to 15 more people into the Rebel V3 than we were able to get into the Rebel V2. What we heard a lot of is that people absolutely love the Rebel V2, but felt like they couldn't wear it every day.
I've heard this.
And we heard a lot of people that went, I wish I could get to the V2, but it's just a little bit niche for me. And the goal with this shoe was just to make it 10 to 15% more democratic. Yeah. So the midsole's a little thicker and the base is a little wider. And we think that's going to allow people who couldn't wear it every day to wear it every day, and people who didn't feel like they could get to the V2, get to this V3, and that's why we're so excited about it. It hasn't lost any of the special sauce that make the Rebel such a fun running shoe. We've just broadened the consumer base just a little bit, and we're super excited about it. I'm convinced that when you get this one, you're going to finally realize that this is a daily training shoe that you can fall in love with.
Okay, I will put this to the test along with the rest of the team. It does look like one thing that we saw in the beginning, the shoe had a wild jacquard upper in the beginning. Then we moved it to a really slick mesh upper in the last version. This is kind of does look more what I would call a traditional daily trainer look. Is that intentional to kind of bring it in?
I think it like the goal, right, is that it just ties better to the overall Fuelcell collection. So it's not that we've changed the materials to make it more supportive or less supportive. It's very, very similar in terms of the upper build. But I think as you looked at the trainer and you looked at the other shoes that had a saddle N logo, we've wanted to make sure that it feels like a cohesive collection across Fuelcell, because maybe you would say that Rebel kind of sat a little bit on its own versus the rest of the Fuelcell collections, maybe a little bit like a Rebel, and we wanted to just tweak that just a little bit without losing kind of any of the fun.
So this is a shoe in the Fuelcell collection that you think is going to be the most democratic, work for the most people, and could possibly be the daily trainer from this selection of the shoes that are outside of the fresh foam line.
Correct, yeah, and I think just the opportunity here for us is massive. We've seen such love for the Rebel V2, and we're confident that anyone that's loved the V2 is going to continue to love this shoe from us, and we're just so excited about all those additional people that are going to be able to feel how special this is, like you and I have been able to in a package that's maybe just a touch more democratic.
Yeah. The Rebel V2 was one of our favorite shoes from 2021. We're totally psyched to see how this one stacks up against it in 2022. And you told us already, I probably missed it. When is this one going to be hitting the market?
That one's not until September.
So we're going to have a little bit of wait on this one. But Rebel V2 is still accessible and easy to get.
Yeah, we've still got pairs of Rebel V2, so people should certainly, if you haven't got to that shoe, you should try it, and then you'll be ready for the time that this one comes to market. But for $130, there's really nothing in running that feels like this and has the value of this shoe utilizing a supercritical foam.
Awesome. Well, thank you for going over the fuel cell line.